Well, welcome everyone. I'm Paul Mirabelli. I'm the mayor. We also have Jim First here. Both of us are real estate attorneys. I want to first thank Kim for arranging for this meeting. The purpose of the meeting is that I understand that a number of people have received letters with offers to purchase your home. And so we wanted to just talk about that and make sure that everyone is fully informed and understand the steps that they should be taking, if in fact you have some desire to sell your home. Um, the first thing I want to tell everyone is that, you know the old saying, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. So these letters that you've received may seem like, oh, look at this, somebody is interested in purchasing my home. There's a lot background that goes into those letters than what meets the eye. Um, so, giving that introduction, I'm going to have Jim start and talk about what steps you should take and the background behind those letters, and just make sure that everyone is careful and cautious and isn't taken advantage of. Go ahead, Jim.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I think Kim's naming of the presentation night, "Seller Beware," was one I think that should be the theme here for all of us. Many of you got the letter. Whether you got the letter or not, it's still good to be aware of what's going on out there. For those of you who didn't get the letter, let me explain to you what that was. It was a company in Scotch Plains, La Rosa Properties. I know Mr. La Rosa. I've spoken to him in the past, and he is in the process of wholesale buying homes. So what he does is he goes and he sends letters and tries to get information or leads from different homeowners, and he tries to buy those homes at a discount so that he can then resell them. In the situation that I have one letter here. I won't use the person's name, but it was a house on Deer Path. And that house, the letter was received, and on page 2, it says, "Here, please sign. Sign here," and there's a number on here. In this case, the number was $457,420.60. He says, "Sign this, fax it back to me, and I'll be there in 3 days with a bank check." Seems a little too good to be true. What Mr. La Rosa does is he wholesales these properties. So what he tries to do is find someone who has this house to buy it at a discount. He'll tell you that he'll buy his house, but he doesn't actually take title to the property. As a wholesale home purchaser, he has developers and other people out there who work with him. He finds the property at a discount, and then he gets, in essence, we'll call it a commission for putting that property under contract and then finding an ultimate purchaser who would want to buy that. The issue then comes is $457,000, $457,420.60. It's such an odd number. Is that the right value? There are circumstances where maybe it is. There are houses maybe that have been a little neglected. There's a home that maybe has some unique characteristic or needs work on it. So maybe there's someone who just needs to take that money and wants to go, and they're interested in a quick sale, and that's fine. The unique thing about Mountainside this year is that you just underwent your revaluation. Now, forget whether the tax assessor is 100% correct or not. It's a very good gauge for us to know whether or not the value that someone is presenting you with is a good value. In this particular circumstance with this home on Deer Path, we know that the assessor had recently reassessed this house for $560,300. So that's a fair gauge, a fair way for us to judge what the value of that home is. And when you do the math, I don't know how Mr. La Rosa came up with the number, Mayor, but it's about 18.5% under what the assessed value is. The assessed value should be the value of that home this year. So he's trying to buy that house at a 20% discount. If he can then sell it to someone else at a 15% discount, as I do the math, that still means that gentleman is making about $25,000 or $30,000 on the transaction. And that's how Mr. La Rosa makes money. He does that on a number of circumstances. He sends a letter, creates an introduction, and makes $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 for that introduction. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's circumstances where, that is sometimes good for people. families who get that. Maybe they have elderly parents and they just want to get them out of the home and don't have time for it. Kim and I discussed someone whose sibling or child lives in Canada. Maybe that person would be there. The point being is that when someone comes to you, seller beware. Ask the question. Someone had the sense to talk to the mayor or someone in the town, and that's what created this presentation. There's other ways to do that too, Mayor. We want to just double check, I think is the point, everyone. There are plenty of realtors out there, and that may be another way for you to in addition to looking at what your assessment is, maybe it's something you want to discuss with a local realtor. I guarantee you that you can, if you can Google realtor, and I would bet you tomorrow there'd be a dozen of them knocking on your front door willing to tell you that your house is worth X and putting your house on the market to sell it. It is an amazingly incredible time actually to sell your home. Inventories are about 50% of where they normally should be. But we leave that to the realtors. Just another way for you to make sure. When the mayor and I spoke yesterday, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about people want to sell their homes. People want to stay in their homes too. But if you're interested in selling your home, just be careful. Ask someone who is a trusted advisor. Ask someone, get a second opinion. Perhaps talk to the tax assessor and say, hey, listen, this is my assessment. Is this the value of my home? Perhaps talk to a real estate agent, maybe talk to an attorney like the mayor or I to see, is there something that this contract or this letter or before I go forward, should I sign that? I have to tell you that I don't think anyone should sign a real estate contract that is only, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's probably less than 150 words. So you can understand that there's probably a little more detail in that we would want to protect you. And that's the other thing that I think that the mayor wanted to make sure was that, if it is a time for you to sell, if you have done that second opinion, so to speak, then make sure that you get someone on your side. The mayor and I, both lawyers, people are sometimes scared of lawyers. We're here. It's a necessary evil because we're here to help protect people, especially from the things that they don't know. An attorney having done 3,000 real estate closings, you're going to come to me or to somebody else, whoever it may be, an experienced person, and we're going to make sure that it's right. Make sure that you're not selling your home or you're forced out on the street before you're ready. Maybe you do want to sell to Mr. La Rosa, but you need time to figure out where you're going to go. You need time to downsize. You need 6 months maybe. So you make a deal where you get into a contract. You don't want to be then forced out of your home in a short period of time if you need more time to find an alternate living arrangement or to sell your home. So I'll stop talking and maybe the mayor wants to jump in again here.
Certainly. I think everything that Jim says is accurate. The whole notion of contacting a realtor, almost the first thing that any realtor will do in trying to get you to hire them to sell your property is they're going to do what's called a market analysis. Market, and they're going to tell you based upon sales of comparable houses in your neighborhood, what they project that your house should sell for. I can tell you now, Mountainside is a pretty hot market. I was driving down Wood Valley on Sunday, and I saw a house that probably had 15 cars sitting in front of it. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here? What are they giving away? And as it turned out, it was an open house. And people were lined up at the door because I guess under the new protocols, they're only allowing one person or one family in the house at a time. So obviously this house was desirable, and they even sell for more than what the realtors or the market say that it's worth. So it certainly is to your advantage to have somebody come in, look at it for you, market it, maybe have an open house. At the very least, you'd want them to put it on the multiple listing service and see what the market will bear. The other, as Jim explained, there may be situations where you do want a quick sale and you are willing to take a discount. Maybe your house is in foreclosure. or you haven't been paying your taxes and there's a tax sale certificate that somebody's purchased and is now foreclosing. So you're looking to save whatever equity you have in your house, and it may make sense for you to take it to sell it at something less than the full market value. The other thing that Jim points out is you really need to have an attorney representing you. Real estate transactions can be very tricky. You may get into contract and then all of a sudden things start to pop up and they look to reduce the price even further. Oh, we didn't know you had an oil tank in your property. Oh, you didn't tell us that your roof was 35 years that you've been having leaks in it, that you haven't updated your kitchen since 1960. So, all of a sudden now, now they're looking to reduce the price even further. So if you have an attorney, you can at least protect yourself from those types of situations where they may attempt to further reduce your price, reduce the price that they're going to buy it from you for. Also, you want to make sure that you're selling it on your terms. A lot of you probably have been in your house for a long time. I know I've been in my house for almost 30 years. I can't imagine cleaning everything out of this house. I mean, I'll have dumpster after dumpster here trying to clean it out, and I would bet that there's a lot of you are probably in the same boat. You probably have a lot of things that have sentimental value. You're going to want to have your kids come over and take some items that they may have some kind of affection for. So you may need time to be able to sell your property. You're also going to need time to transition into a new place to live, and an attorney can put that type of contingency in a contract, give you more time, make it subject to you finding another place to live. And if you can't, then maybe you would have the right to then back out of the contract. You also want to have some flexibility, in making that decision. So you should not jump in to any contract similar to the one that Jim showed you. A contract that, as Jim says, is 150 words. Is probably was probably drawn up for the advantage of the buyer. Okay, in this case, especially if he's buying it at a substantial discount. And like Jim said, I'm sure the fact that we've just had a revaluation and then all those assessments are available in the public domain, that anyone can go and look at them and discount them 20% and fire off a letter saying, I got a cashier's check for you, just here, and I'll be there, in 3 days with this cashier's check for you. So the two things that I think are very important is, number one, I guess three things. Number one, depending on your situation, you may be ripe to sell your property. Okay, you may be ripe to sell it quickly. You may want to take some time to sell it. Okay, that's the first thing. Number two, you want to make sure that you're getting the best value for your property. Okay, somebody's sending you a letter discounting your assessed value at $20,000 is certainly not looking out for your best interest and your interest in getting the best value that you can for your property. And how you find that out is you have a professional realtor come in that gives you a market analysis. Look, they may come in and say, look, because your house is older, it hasn't been updated, that this price that you've been offered is probably very similar to what I might be able to get if I was to put it on the market and market it. It may not be. They'll also have the opportunity to put it on the multiple listing service, have an open house, and sort of test the waters for you before you have to sign a contract. And the contract that you do sign will make sure that you're getting the best value for your property. And then the third thing is in any real estate transaction, you need to be represented by an attorney. You know, we pride ourselves on protecting our clients, making sure that they're not taken advantage of, making sure that the terms of the contract are something that they can live with. They don't want to have, seller's remorse. I signed this contract, I got to get out. All of a sudden, I'm looking around, I'm saying, I lived here a long time. I really don't want to get out. You know, the price looked good when I got it, but now I'm having second thoughts, and I signed this contract. I didn't have a lawyer look at it, and now I'm stuck with it. So,
Mayor, if I-
go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to add, I think everyone should understand too, you should never do this under duress. There's a couple of circumstances that may come up where you'll feel pressure. The first one, fixed income, taxes go up. Not the mayor's fault. Mountainside has great low taxes, don't get me wrong, but taxes have to be paid. And now all of a sudden you're going to feel like you're under duress because you get behind on your taxes. You get a notice in the mail from the tax assessor that says your house is going to go up for tax sale. All right. That is number one. Don't get nervous about something like that, because that doesn't mean that on the hearing date or the auction date that they're going to come and take you out of your house. What they're doing is they're selling a tax sale certificate. And the owner of that tax sale certificate then pays the town the money, and then they hold that certificate. They would then have to wait 2 years before they could foreclose on you and have to go through the foreclosure process in order to do it. So if you did get a delinquency notice and notice of a tax sale, you still probably have 2 years. If you were to get foreclosed upon by a lender, you get behind on your payment, you go 90 days in arrears, and the notice comes to you that you're being sued for foreclosure. The day that you get that notice, I can probably guarantee you it's going to be 2.5 years before that foreclosure process will actually go through, and there would be a circumstance where someone may actually be foreclosed upon and forced to leave their home. So if that happens to you, don't wait. If you see those things happen, call someone, get advice. Don't wait until the last minute, because if you do it from the beginning, there's planning that you can do, and you shouldn't then feel under duress. If you wait, if you hide from the problem, if you pretend it's not happening, it's those people that get into the bad circumstances. I get the call once a quarter. I'll get the call from someone that says, I have a foreclosure problem. And what it is that the foreclosure has been going on for 2.5 years, and now they've gotten 2 adjournments of the sheriff's sale, and they're on their third. And the reason they're calling you is because the court won't adjourn a sheriff's sale for a third time unless it's done through a lawyer. It's too late. At that point, there's nothing that anyone can do for you. So don't ever feel like you're under duress if you get behind. From the beginning, get someone involved to help you so that you have time to prepare. People will take advantage of this and make you feel like that tax sale note or that foreclosure notice means you're going to be homeless out on the street living in your car. It does not. There are resources for people in your situation. You just have to be brave enough to ask for help.
There is one other option that you can have, especially if you get into one of these situations and you want to stay in your house. You love the town, you love your neighbors, you have a good support system in the town. There are some financing options that may be available to you to allow you to stay in your house without having to make a mortgage payment. There are reverse mortgage types that will allow you to stay in your house. They'll actually make the mortgage payment for you. And that may be another viable option for someone who, especially if you live on a fixed income and you really can't afford a mortgage payment, but you want to stay in your house. So there are other financing options that can be utilized in order to save your house. There's also ways for you to maybe sell your house to one of your children by giving them a gift of equity, which would act as a down payment. So that would be a way for them to purchase your house, okay? You would keep it in the family. Maybe your kids grew up in the house with you and they now are having kids and they want to stay in Mountainside. this is a way for you to be able to, sort of cash in on the equity in your house, but still have, one of your children take over the house and keep up the tradition of your family remaining in Mountainside. So there are a multitude of options that you have. So don't ever think, like Jim says, that you're going to be forced to sell your house. The only time that that's going to happen is, like Jim says, you don't ask for help. I know a lot of our seniors are extremely proud, and that's what makes our seniors so strong in Mountainside. But at some point, if you need help, you have to ask for it. And there's plenty of resources out there that can help you. I'm sure your family would step up and try to help you if you ever fall into that situation. So I know you've been listening to Jim and myself talk for some time now. So I'm sure that there are some questions out there that you may have that you want to ask. So at this point, if somebody wants to ask a question, you would have to unmute yourself, and then you can go ahead and answer a question. We'll try and take them one at a time, okay? You have to unmute yourself if you're going to ask a question now. Okay,
Hi.
Betty. Hi,
Yes,
Betty.
I'm Betty Seidel, and I'm on Longview Drive. I always wondered, a house is assessed at a certain number, but that does not necessarily mean that the house is actually valued at that price on the market. Am I correct?
Well, the whole purpose of the revalue, last year, that would be 100% true, because the assessed value of the houses in Mountainside were about 28% of what the market value is, okay?
Oh.
But now that we've done the revaluation, the whole purpose of the revaluation is to assess your property at the true market value. If the assessor, if the revaluation company did their job, then in fact, the assessment that you received is very close to what the market value should be. That's your first indication. If you have any questions about that, number one, you can talk to the company that did the revaluation and ask them to walk you through how they came up with that value. And what they did was they took houses that are similar to yours in your neighborhood, and they found out what those houses sold for and what those houses are worth, and they compare it to your house. So right now, and that's why these types of letters are coming out in Mountainside, because it's easy now for an investor to look up the new assessment. He figures the tax revaluation company did a good job, and that this is what the market value. So I'm going to knock 20% off, and I'm going to shoot out a letter. The other thing you can do is what we talked about before. Contact a realtor for free. They'll give you a market analysis, which is what their estimation is as a professional realtor, as to what they feel they can sell your house for. So right now in Mountainside, your assessed value is as close to the market value as it's been in the last 35 years.
Okay, thank you.
Come on, I know you guys have more questions. Every time I come to your meetings, you come up with questions. So let's go here. Don't be bashful.
Well, I have one for you.
Okay.
If you happen to get into a position where your house is being foreclosed on or back taxes, apparently you don't have any money to pay your taxes. That's why you went into foreclosure. You can't go to a lawyer unless you guys work for free.
Well, we don't.
Well, then
But
where would a person go to get help and
but
assistance?
certainly, almost all attorneys will give you a free initial consultation where you will present your situation. At least I know I do, and I'm sure probably Jim does. You present your
One that I like, yes.
you present your situation. We tell you what we can do and what we can't do, and we tell you what the cost is going to be. I explained to you before, if you're someone that is gotten behind on your taxes, probably the amount that you're behind on your taxes is a very small percentage of what the actual value is of your property. So there are some financing options that you can get into so that you can, remain in your house, have the ability to continue to pay your taxes, even if you live on a fixed income. And basically, you can draw out of the equity in your house, now, okay, so you can stay there. And then, you can pay the lawyer out of that. Typically for a real estate closing, lawyers get between $1,000 and $2,000. If there's some financing mechanism that can keep you in your house, certainly the cost of that attorney can come out of that refinancing. And there are a lot of attractive products out there that allow, especially seniors on fixed income with equity in their house, to remain in their house and not have to make a mortgage payment, and to pull money out of the equity to pay your taxes and pay whatever interest charges there may be in a connection with that type of financing. And then at the end of the day, when something happens to you, then the house has to be sold and that mortgage gets paid off. Even if you get involved in a reverse mortgage situation, they don't just come and take your house when something happens to you. You still have the right to sell it. And, your kids and your beneficiaries in your will are still going to get the benefit of whatever equity is left in the house. So it never hurts to go and talk to a lawyer. I have financing companies that I work with. Usually the first step is I refer them to someone that knows how to do that I trust, that'll be honest with them. Because, there's a lot of mortgage guys that'll sell you the world, and just so they get the deal and they get their fees out of it, and they're not really looking out for you. So there are ways for you to actually finance the cost of the lawyer, and that's probably the smallest part of what you'd have to pay when you do a transaction like that. So like I said, most attorneys will give you a free consultation to talk to them. I know I do. And this way I can lay out for you what I can do, what I think you should do, what your options are. And then if I'm going to stay involved in those options, then I'm going to tell you what the cost is going to be. And then you'll have to decide. Maybe you got to talk to your family, to borrow a couple dollars so that you can, get yourself out of this situation.
Yeah, I agree with American. As long as there's equity in that house, not so much recently, but, after like the last great recession, 2008, 9, 10, I was taking a call like that once a week to talk to people through that. As long as there's equity in the home, somebody's going to be able to do something for you. There have been occasions where, because I'm in this for the right reasons, I've deferred payment. We know you have equity in the house. Maybe pay a little bit higher of a rate because I have to wait to get paid, but there's certainly, don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call a lawyer. And Kenny, if you ever get in that situation, you call me, I'll take your call. Don't worry.
Unmute to say thank you.
No problem, Ken.
I'm going to ask, because it does come up with some seniors, is it ever a good opportunity to do a reverse mortgage? And how do you keep yourself out of getting in trouble with that?
Well, there are situations where a reverse mortgage will help you. You just need to be careful. Some of these reverse mortgage companies are more interested in getting their fees and not really interested in doing what's in the best interest of their customer. I've had many people get bailed out by reverse mortgages, and they've told me it was the best thing they ever did. That's why you got to have a lawyer that you trust that will advise you. Take a look at the terms. You might even have a financial advisor, like one of your children usually is uh, almost all of you have one of your children that you can rely upon for giving you financial advice. There are a multitude of circumstances where reverse mortgage is the right solution. It's not always the right solution, but it can be beneficial to someone who has equity in their house, wants to stay in their house, and living on a fixed income and is having trouble even paying the taxes. So there are a lot of good reverse mortgage companies. There's also a lot of bad ones. So you just got to be careful. And like I always tell people, you got to go into these transactions with your eyes open. You know, you have to understand what you're getting into, what the costs are involved. And if you think it fits your situation, then you need to make an informed decision and go for it. I mean, you know, if it keeps you in your house, then, you know, and that's what you want to do, and that's what's very important to you, then, you know, then you should take that step, but you should do it with your eyes open. Make sure you talk to people that you trust, you know, your family, if you have a lawyer that you've used for a long period of time that you trust. And, you know, I'm sure both Jim and I are going to lead you down the right path. We're not going to lead you down some primrose path. I don't get paid anything if I refer somebody to somebody that's going to give them a reverse mortgage. I refer them there because I think that's the best situation for them.
I think the thing also, too, like you would do with a doctor, if you're going to undergo a procedure, what do they tell you? Go get a second opinion. Lots of mortgage guys out there. So talk to one, talk to a second, and then compare the two. The other thing that does is it breeds competition. So if you have two guys fighting over your business, it's going to kind of get you a better deal. So always get a second opinion on anything that you're going to do when it comes to your home.
Okay, so since I hear silence out there, this is your opportunity, if you'd like, to ask me questions about anything in Mountainside. I haven't really had too much of a chance lately to go on some of Kim's weekly Zooms to talk to people. So if anybody else has any questions about what's going on in the town, if you want, we can spend at least a few minutes trying to answer those questions. I see Betty waving her hand over there. So why don't you start, Betty? And don't ask me about vaccinations. No, you can ask me, but I'll give you the scoop. You got to take your mute off, Betty. Your mute is on. No, take your mute off. Bottom left corner of your screen, you'll see where it says mute. You have to unmute.
Betty, it's the microphone sign at the bottom left, the microphone.
I know you can do it because you did it before.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. She unmuted before, so.
Try to take your mouse and move it to the bottom of your screen, and then the mute will pop up, and then you want to click on that microphone that says mute.
Can the host unmute her?
I'm unable to mute people, but
And I'm sure it was a really
Betty.
good question.
I can mute everyone, but I cannot unmute everyone.
Okay, Betty, why don't
Sounds
you
like a
give me
politician's
call?
dream.
Betty, you could call me and
I'll make you a co-host, Mayor.
Betty, call me up on the phone. I have my cell phone here. Call me up. No? Okay.
Okay, come on. I know you got questions.
You did a pretty good job of
There you
that.
go. There you go, Betty. You're unmuted now.
Okay, am I all right now?
You are.
Oh, okay. I have a question about the town. And I'm just curious, in light of what happened this year with COVID and everything, and the fact that so many businesses have gone under, has it affected the finances of the town?
Uh, First of all, the town itself has been trying to support as many of the local businesses as we can throughout this whole pandemic, especially the restaurants. We immediately came up with a fast track way for businesses to get approved for outside dining. There was also a fast track application process for them to expand their liquor license. We also have, now we're actually attempting to, and we have actually approved some outdoor dining. I know the Public House has outdoor dining. I was there about a week or so ago, and they're outside dining, and it was very pleasant. I took my coat off, so we're trying to work with the businesses. Kim's program for the senior meals has supported these businesses.
Oh, yeah.
As I said in
Wonderful.
my annual speech, I estimated she pumped about $100,000 into the local economy and the local businesses. But to answer your question about how the town finances are, fortunately, we were set up in such a way that we had planned on doing some capital projects, a substantial amount of capital projects. And what we wound up doing is deferring those projects to this upcoming year. So we had, we
Had a reserve.
cushioned ourselves from any loss of revenue, and we really didn't have that much loss of revenue. We had the pool, we lost some revenue, the parking, the commuter parking, we lost some revenue, and the construction fees, we lost some revenue. But really, we're going to make up for that next year. I anticipate that even with the COVID this year and some loss in revenues, that we're going to have a tax cut this year from the municipality. So I think we're doing very well. We have a good CFO who analyzes all of these things for us, and for me especially. As you know, we paved, even in the middle of this pandemic, we paved quite a few roads in town. A couple of them got paid for by DOT grants. A vast majority of some roads got paved as a result of a partnership with the gas company. In the beginning, the gas company was digging up our roads. I was getting calls. They're digging up our roads. They're killing it. Well, we made a deal with them that once they finished, they were going to have to repave a lot of the roads, and they did that, especially in December. We got Wood Valley, Indian Trail, Birch Hill, Briar Patch, some other ones that I can't, off the top of my head, give you. So we were still able to make sure that we built up the infrastructure. We had a plan, and fortunately, the plan worked for us. So fiscally, we're in very good shape. We'll be introducing our budget in March. I'm working on that right now. Right now, we're working on our capital plan. We're going to continue to pave roads. We're probably going to build a new DPW garage on the Viking pest control property that we purchased on Route 22. We have the development on the Barnes track. That developer has agreed to repave the pool parking lot for us. He's also going to be repaving the road from the pool down to Mountain Avenue as part of his project. He's also going to put a sidewalk in along Mountain Avenue up to 7-Eleven, which will be a big thing.
Oh, that's great.
For our kids that want to walk from the pool up to 7-Eleven. We're also looking at a couple of safety concerns. There's been a lot of talk about how dangerous the crosswalk is on Summit Road by Charles Street. We've been having some conversations with the county where they're going to put some signage up and some blinking lights to try to make that safer. So, there's a lot of things that we're going to continue to do. We'll continue to invest in Mountainside, but we're going to do it in a fiscally responsible way. And I'm almost positive we're going to get a nice tax decrease this year.
Thank you. You're very good answer. Thank you.
Now, I know somebody was waiting just about to talk when Betty finally unmuted. Where'd that lady? Where was that lady?
Was it me?
Yes, that was you. Yeah.
Oh, my neighbor,
Hi,
my neighbor.
Dale. Hi, Dale.
Hi there, Mayor. My question is going to be concerning the library. Have you had any information about when the library might start being open to go inside on a limited basis?
That's a tough question right now, especially right now because, the cases are increasing. So I think we're going to need, I'm going to get an update. I usually get it every Friday from the Westfield Regional Board of Health. But last week we had 41 new cases, which is probably the highest number of cases that we've had, since March. So right
Where were the
now,
41? Where were the 41 cases?
the 41, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but they were all ages, all in Mountainside residents.
Oh, in Mountainside only.
All in
That's
Mountainside, yes.
That's a
There was
lot.
also
It's a
party.
lot for a small town, yes.
Yes, it is. It's a lot, the most we've had since March. So right now, they're looking at when they're going to open, but they're not going to open until we know it's safe. Safe for the employees, safe for the customers. They have a lot of programs that you can go online. And take
Yes, I
advantage
know.
of. Okay. Also, you can pick up at the library. They still have that. So I really am not sure when it's going to open up fully. Like anything in the town, we're not sure when everything is going to get, quote, back to normal. Hopefully, that's going to happen sooner than later. I know there's problems with the scheduling appointments for vaccinations. I know, the issue is that once they opened it up to seniors and some other groups, there were 4 million people that became eligible for vaccinations, and the state is only getting 100,000 vaccinations available to them for distribution every week. So, that's what's causing the problem with these getting appointments. It's not that the systems aren't set up. We just don't have the vaccinations to support the demand. But they're working on that. I think that there'll be some federal programs that are going to come out that hopefully will get more vaccines into the hands of the local states, which means we're going to get more vaccines. If you have questions about how to get an appointment, I know Kim has been working the phones and working the internet to help people get appointments. I understand you can register. They don't give you an appointment, but at least if you're registered, when the time comes, they'll notify you when you have an appointment. So that's when I think things will, quote, get back to normal. I can't wait. I can't wait to go to a sporting event. Especially for kids who are, I know that the school had just started their winter season. They're just starting to practice for boys and girls basketball up at Governor Livingston. I understand that they've had at least a scrimmage, with no spectators. They're getting pretty fancy. I understand they're working on live streaming them so parents can, watch their kids play. There's nothing. I know my kids played sports, and there was nothing I enjoyed more than going there and sitting and watching them play. So I think that's when, they're working on trying to make things normal, but it's very difficult right now. Like I've been preaching for a long time, we gotta toe the line. We gotta wear masks. We gotta be socially distant. We gotta avoid these large indoor gatherings. We gotta wash our hands. as long as we continue to do that, hopefully it's going to get better. I can tell you in my own family, we've had more positive tests in the last 2 weeks than we've had, since March. So, it affects everybody. So we got to be vigilant. Kim's going to keep doing her senior meals. Don't worry. So,
Well,
So,
I have a
Mayor,
piece of information that really was not that hopeful. I spoke with somebody today who works with the NIH, and he said that even though we do get our vaccines, and that is imperative that you get it, it doesn't mean that you are safe from the virus. It only means that you will have some immunity that if you do get it, it may be a milder case, but you can still pass it on if you're testing positive, and that wearing a mask and all the things that you just mentioned still need to be in place for a very long time. So I just thought I'd pass that on to you and everybody. It's hopeful only to a point, but apparently this virus is mutating as we speak. And so there's so much that we still don't know and we'll have to deal with in the future.
well, we got to toe the line, Dale. That's all we can do right now. We have to we have to follow the science. I think that's been one of the problems. We haven't done that. So hopefully moving forward, we'll get effective vaccines that are going to, help us to get back to normal. I understand Johnson & Johnson has got one that's going to be coming out
Yeah.
and being
Right.
approved shortly. That's a single dose vaccine. So that'll help get more people vaccinated. We just got to toe the line and we got to, do what we're told at this point. It's bigger than we are. So we just got to hang in there. That's what we're going to do in Mountainside. We're going to continue to help the businesses. We're going to continue to support the seniors anywhere we can to get you guys through this. And because if we don't do that, I know Kim's going to yell at me. So
Yes, she will.
uh,
Well, what
But I
was,
do,
Mr.
what
Mayor,
was the number again in Mountainside for people who have COVID?
the last as of last Friday, the week ending last Friday, there was 41 cases. I will get a new
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor,
update.
that
I will get
41 figure includes the nursing homes or just?
I think there was only 1 or 2 cases in the nursing homes. The nursing homes are doing very well right now. They seem to have gotten it right. They're segregating patients who are testing positive. They're testing their employees. So there really is very few cases right now. Not like it was in the beginning, where I would say 50% of the cases were all long-term care facilities. Now, very few of them are coming out of the long-term care facilities. Most of them are in the general public. It has to do with these indoor gatherings. It also has to do with families that aren't properly quarantining them. We see more and more 2 and 3 people in a household are testing positive because they're not properly, separating. When you get a positive result, you should totally isolate. In the end of June, I tested positive and I was in bad shape for about a month. My daughter, who was here with me, she was like the quarantine Nazi, She kept me separate from her. She wouldn't let me go near her. If I walked out of my room without a mask, she was all over me.
She was
So-
right.
good girl.
Well, the story I always tell is, I always tell people, make sure you have a daughter, because daughters will take care of your sons. They call you on the phone. How you doing, Dad? You want me to get some takeout for you? Okay, I'll call you tomorrow. Don't worry. So that's my COVID story, and that's why, thank God for daughters.
I have one more question because somebody asked me, who maintains the flagpole in Constitution Plaza, the one right near the library.
Well, the veterans are mainly the ones.
No,
that
it's
take-
not that one. It's the big one closer to the library in the parking lot.
You mean where the Veterans Memorial is, where all the flags are and everything?
No, no, it's the other one,
I'm not
right
sure.
in the parking lot, closer
Right.
to the library.
Right, it's right next to the library. And today I
Next.
noticed that that flag was at half-mast and the flags by the Memorial Park were at full mast. So why was the one at half-mast in front of the library
Well,
and the other one not?
I don't know,
originally
but
I was told that it was because of Bruce Geiger. Is that correct?
I'm not sure, but I will certainly find out. Maybe Matt, he's on the call. Maybe you can shed some light on it, Matt?
There was that half-staff for the cop that had died down in Washington. But it should have been
Oh,
put.
just
back up.
recently.
Yes, and it should have been
Just
put
tell
back
them
up.
letters are not at the
Not, it
top
will
of
be
the
up
speech.
tomorrow morning.
Oh, John, that's your question.
Mayor John Moberg, it's kind
Hey,
of a little
John.
my, a little pet peeve with me. The flag directly in front of the library has been at half-staff for the last 4 or 5 months, but it's tied off about 12 feet up the pole. I would have done it myself, but I don't have it. I can't get up 12 feet.
Matt, you'll take care of that tomorrow?
I will take care of that first thing tomorrow morning. The reason why it's so far up the pole is because years back, we had issues with people stealing the flag off that pole. But there was no cameras over there or anything, so they decided to get it up high enough where no one could get it. But I will take care of that first thing tomorrow morning.
Any issues you see in town with any flags, John, contact me and we'll address it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Now it's up here.
Thank
All right,
you.
All right, everyone. So let's just recap here. If you get a letter that's too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. Okay, make sure you do your homework. Make sure you get advice from people who have the expertise to give you the advice and who you trust. And like Jim says, if you're not happy with what the first person says, you get a second opinion. Talk to your family, talk to people that you trust, but don't jump into the water before you test the temperature, okay? All right, so everyone be safe, have a good evening. And again, Kim, thank you for arranging this. Jim, thank you for your time and helping us here tonight. So everyone have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all. Thank you,
Bye.
Jim.